Now I am very excited to welcome back an accomplished sports bettor and great friend of the show, and Mr. Brian Edwards from Major Wager in Vegas Insider. You can follow Brian on X at Vegas B Edwards. Brian, welcome back, and wow, have things changed in college football over the past few weeks?
Yeah, and I think our alma maters are going to be looking for new coaches here very, very, very soon, and I know I'm thrilled about it. I would imagine you are as well.
Jesus
Uh,
Christ.
yeah,
I need
yeah,
somebody. I need somebody with a bag full of money coming in, like Penn State had. Was it Adidas buying them out or something?
yeah. I think that report was maybe shot down a little bit, or I feel like I know what it was. Chris Lee mentioned that and in a podcast we were doing, I think Tuesday morning, and somebody jumped in the comments and said that that report had been refuted, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Adidas,
Whatever,
Adidas, like, don't out us, dude. Don't out us.
right?
You know,
Probably.
we charge littler than Nike for shoes. Don't out us, please.
Right. Yeah.
You notice I have a basketball court in the background here because that's pretty much my feelings on the Badgers right now, winning against two fucking tomato cans and not one Big Ten. And now looking at the schedule, I'm pretty sure the only Big Ten they might even just have a chance in is against Minnesota, and it's in Minnesota. So this could be the first
Right.
time since the 70s that we didn't have a Big Ten win, a conference win. And last week was the first time we've been shut out at home since 1980, Brian. In 1980, I know you're not. Yeah, both of us are not the youngest bucks around, but in 1980, we probably weren't remembering too many things back then.
Yeah, I was writing down my lines on Sunday morning in Big Ten, and I was like, "Am I really writing down Ohio State minus 31 at Wisconsin?" Because that's not a sentence I'd never thought I would form. Ohio State minus
No,
31
at
at
Wisconsin.
I
At
was like,
Wisconsin. Yeah.
but I go, yeah, no, I'm definitely doing that. At least that,
It's a sad day, man. I'm excited for hoops, let's say. But
right?
coming off the natty, that's fun too. So I'm sure you're going to
Yeah,
be excited for some hoopla
yeah, for
discussion
sure.
as well when that comes into fruition. But still college football here.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of Big Ten SEC talk. You know, it's so funny. It only took Ole Miss that one close game, and now you got Washington chirping about, they're 5-1, they should be in the ranked, and I believe they should be ranked, but I mean, it's so funny. What do you think about the strength overall of the Big Ten versus the SEC?
let me pull up some standings and then I'll be able to do that for you. I think the top of the Big Ten is a little better, maybe. Yeah, no, I think we have parity in the SEC. I would definitely say the SEC is better from a depth and overall perspective, but I think the top dogs in the Big Ten this year, I think are better than the top dogs in the SEC this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I mean, I think Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon can certainly beat anybody in the SEC. We thought we would have Penn State up in that conversation, but I think it starts to drop off after the top five in the Big Ten a decent amount. Whereas I think in the SEC, I think one through 10 is really,
Legit.
really, really, really good. So top dogs in the Big Ten better than the top dogs in the SEC, but 1 through 10, I think it's easily the SEC, and then the whole conference as a whole, I think it's SEC.
I agree. I think it's too far fetched to say that as a whole they compete because it's so funny. Washington says Ole Miss just lost to a team we blew out in Pullman. But think about it this way. Ole Miss whooped the Tulane team that whooped Northwestern, that whooped Penn State. It's like that is also something you can bring up if you're
Sure.
an SEC believer. And, I'm not like defending the SEC totally here, but, you know, maybe there's some of the bottom of the Big Ten or the middle of the Big Ten, like the Michigans and the Washingtons are a little bit better. and maybe they should be more ranked, and maybe we'll find out more about the middle of the SEC here pretty quick with Ole Miss and Tennessee and Oklahoma. But here's the thing: Oklahoma beat Michigan. They beat them pretty handily too, and so I got to give them props for that. So I think that the top of the Big Ten, Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon, may be all better than everybody in the SEC, but then the SEC has the strongest middle ground. I also will say this. Oregon being ranked 8th after that loss, that's not a true power rating. That's the AP talking. They have Alabama above them. But here's the thing, Oregon does not deserve that yet. I think their margin of victory is kind of showing you. I truly think Auburn's a top, or Oregon's a top 3 or 4 team in my rankings. But let's go to some of the SEC shenanigans, Brian. Do you think that there's an officiating problem there in the SEC? I mean, there was a lot of Twitter going on last weekend after the Bama and the Georgia games.
Yeah, I do. There's a couple of problems. Well, there's one. Greg Sankey needs to be fining Lane Kiffin when he lies on the injury report. I did see today that the Big Ten fined USC for doing the exact same thing. They had somebody listed as out last week and they played him. But back to the officiating, I mean, I think the ACC has shown us the path. I mean, how great is it to have a call that looks like it go either way, and we get to listen to the entire feedback from wherever the ACC people are. I don't know where they are. I guess at ACC headquarters. Where the hell's that? Charlotte? I don't know.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, it shows you every word and all the communication from the referee on the field to that wherever they are in a office, a truck, but they've got all these screens. They're communicating. It sounds beautiful the way it's done. It's full transparency, and it's awesome. And I presume you've seen that several times by now this year, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think all the conferences need to go to that. And here's one more thing. On the fake punt by Mizzou last week, I really thought in real time that he reached out and he got to the sticks, but there was definitely not a camera angle that showed that definitively. So I thought it was correct to not, to hold, uphold that call, which gave Alabama a first down, and didn't really matter because they missed a field goal a few plays later. But how is it 2025 and we don't have a camera angle? We don't have a camera, and no camera angle is going to give us a better look at that. Okay, do we need to start putting a chip in the football? So,
or a better camera angle, although both. The chip messes up a little bit because your forward motion could be stopped, and then you eventually reach forward, and then what time did the whistle blow? What time did that? I think the chip helps a little bit, but it doesn't figure everything out. Another problem is how does the chip know your elbow hit the ground? How does the chip know your knee hit the ground? The chip don't know that.
Sure. I was just thinking about for spots, I guess. But all right, then why don't we get a drone in the air?
Yeah, I would say you can do a hell of a lot more, like the ACC and other conferences, and expanding the stuff. But the Georgia play, you can say he was across the line or not, but you can't defend the fact that most of Georgia's defensive line was lined up both sides. They were past the ball.
Right.
Yeah, they were. It's like, why is that not being the thing there? It's like, of course they got to them quick. I mean, there's all kinds of problems. And anybody at home usually gets that nod. Having to look at it for 10 minutes and then it's just absolutely ridiculous. I'm a little sore, I guess, because they scored, but they only went 50 yards the next freaking half, and that's a problem too. So I understand that. But there's something to momentum and being shell-shocked and things like that aren't discussed as much, and that was part of it. It's like your momentum was shot after that. And so the SEC and the Big Ten, it's almost like they're trying to cover up stuff when they do this crap. There is problems in the Big Ten too. The big teams get the defensive hold. They do it, and they'll get flagged once in a while, but they'll do it the next play, and the refs get sick of it. There's problems in both, but it's got to stop because the technology and the knowledge that us fans have and the HD cameras, we're not being fooled by it. So I think there's stuff that needs to be fixed, but unfortunately, Big Daddy, the NFL, hasn't really set that precedent. It's actually probably worse in the NFL than it is in freaking college football now. But as sports bettors, we're sitting here, we're trying to eliminate variance. We don't want variance. We want to be predictable things. That's not eliminating variance when you're not fixing that stuff. So that's my thoughts. Rant over. Buy low, sell high. Let's talk about some teams that you might want to buy low or sell high on. Would you like to go first? If not, I can.
Yeah, I'll go first. And look, I'm not necessarily endorsing this play, and I'm not betting it because I am a big Diego Pavia fan, and I'm going to have my betting involvement in this game be on a couple of player props. But I will say that I think you have a very now. There's also is Nussmeier healthy because he got beat up pretty good last week, but I think there's a buy low opportunity with LSU. Okay, LSU and Vandy don't play every year, but they've been in the same conference for, I don't know, 8 decades or something like that. And
longer than I've been on.
Yeah, this is the first time that Vanderbilt has been favored against LSU since. You want to give a guess?
1978?
1948.
Oh my God. I saw something 78. I wasn't sure if it was that.
Yeah, so I'm just pointing out that you do have an opportunity to buy low on LSU. How I'm betting it, however, is Cedric Alexander, Vandy running back, over 47.5 rushing yards, and Diego Pavia over 48.5 rushing yards. Those are my two player props that I like on that game.
Well, we'll have to remember that. Two nice little props for us on that one. How much is Pavia's? 41?
48.5, and
so
he has gone over that 4 of 6 times, but 2 of the times that he didn't were against G5 teams when I don't think Clark was calling as many quarterback designed runs, etc. Like in other words, they didn't need Diego putting himself in harm's way to get a victory on the 2 times it went under.
Fair enough. I agree with that one, and I like it. And that's a good point. I think the props are sometimes to look a little bit better in this game. I'm sniffing an under, just a hint to everyone in that one. I didn't have it on the 6-pack of plays, but we'll discuss it after that, maybe briefly. I'm going to sell high. Jesus, this is going to hurt, but Texas Tech, man, we'll see what they really are. I'm not saying, look, I want Sam Leavitt to play this week. He took reps with the first group, which usually tells you something. It's down to 7.5. You could have got 10.5, but this correction from Sims, and I'm not sure if it was not enough when this opened at 10.5, or if it was just you're not giving enough back for Leavitt. But man, Sims is freaking awful. I mean, this quarterback is a 10-point downgrade minimum from a Sam Leavitt, dude. Sims is so bad. And you saw it last week at Utah, which is a very tough place to play at night. But I was bummed because I was shocked that Sam Leavitt was off. I took the early line and thought I had value and went to hell. But now I'm just going to keep my eyes peeled a little bit more on this number because Sam Leavitt can backdoor anybody. And Texas Tech, now their schedule is going to harden up. I'm not saying that I'm selling them that they're not going to make the playoffs or not going to win the Big 12, but I am selling them from an ATS perspective because I think the public's going to be all over them.
Yeah, that's just I mean, I hear you on that, but Texas Tech is just a team I'm not looking to get in front of right now. And we just don't know about Levitt's health yet. I'm trying to think. So SEC report comes out on Wednesday. Big 12, I think it comes out on Wednesday as well. ACC didn't come out till Thursday. And get it together, Big 10. 90 minutes before kickoff. Get out of here. Come on.
I know, right? That is ridiculous. Come on. Let us know as soon as possible is what I say. BYU's got to go there. They got to go to K-State, and K-State's weird. They're not as good as we thought they were, but, it could be a little tricky for Texas Tech. And so I'm looking to fade them this week. I'm not doing it until I get a better report on Sam Leavitt. Let's go to some of our 6-pack of games, my friend. Let's talk some games. Florida, Mississippi State plus 9.5. Total is 51.5. As a true Gator fan, Mr. Brian Edwards, I'm sure he's got something for us here.
Yeah, I got to go with Mississippi State here. And Florida as a home favorite under Billy Napier, 4-9. ATS Road Dog under Levy for Mississippi State, 4-2. So ATS that is, and you know, Florida has bowed up at times when, Napier really desperately needed a win to avoid a pink slip. And one of those times was the Texas game a couple of weeks ago. But probably the first time I started to see some bad body language last week. And the frustration, I started to see it from the players and doing a little lip reading from DJ Lagway after another frustrating possession late in the game. A little lip reading from me. My translation of the lip reading was that Lagway was dropping an F-bomb in terms of the play call selection, and I can assure DJ that I had already dropped about 40 F-bombs about the play calling selection that night. I mean, it's just so easy to know what Napier's about to do, whether it's from the formation
Freezing up here real quick.
Oh, sorry. How about now? Whoops.
I'm with you, Brian. You my internet might have went out for a second. You said the pathway.
Pathway. Okay. I was talking about DJ Lagway, body language, and I was reading his lips, and there was an F-bomb dropped, and it had to do with the play calling. And I can assure you, DJ, that I had already dropped about 40 F-bombs about the play calling. It's completely inept, and it's so readable and easy. I mean, I can tell you what he's going to do, whether it's run, pass. I can normally tell you which side it's going to, and that's when I'm slamming Budweiser's and frustrated. I can't imagine a defensive coordinator has been watching Florida film all week, sitting in the press box, how easy it is for him to diagnose what play he's about to run.
Yeah, that's frustrating if he's given all those tells. It's like a pitcher blowing it for his team, showing his tipping his pitches, right? That it's crazy. I'm with you. I took 9.5. I think that Mississippi State backdoors anybody really in the SEC or has a chance to. Maybe it's not the most legit defenses like an A&M. Maybe that's a little bit tougher to backdoor. Maybe even Alabama. But no, I think that they're a very much improved team from last year, and that quarterback finally healthy, is playing with a lot of poise. And if you look at the numbers here, I'm trying to pull them up before my screen goes blanked again. Unfortunately, I had to hit the old refresh button since the internet went out. Mississippi State ranks pretty high on offensive success rate, 27th, 5th in rushing play success rate, which is kind of crazy, looking at that. And I think that just tells you they can backdoor kind of a sluggish Florida offense, let's say. And I was on Florida when they beat Texas. Don't get me wrong. They played pretty well at home recently, but anything over 7 when it's Florida, you gotta look to fade that because Lagway is not trying to necessarily pull ahead. And number 2, Bill Napier doesn't really cover big spreads, does he? So it's I'm with you.
Yeah, 4-9 against the spread as a home favorite at Florida.
9.5 is a pretty big number. Let's take it for an official podcast play. Texas versus Kentucky. Kentucky, I wrote plus 12.5 and a total of 42. It's pretty low total, my friend. 42.5. I feel that's pretty low, but I think this number goes down. I mean, what's Texas doing on the road, laying points in a letdown spot? I think the dogs are barking here, my man. We have to acknowledge, even though Kentucky might be one of the worst teams in the SEC, they have the 6th hardest schedule in the nation, according to Sagarin. That's pretty important. The Longhorns got right last week, whatever. Very injured Mateer. That was more about Mateer looking bad, I thought.
Yeah.
It's not like Kentucky. It's not like they put up a ton of points. Kentucky has fight in them. The only SEC team that they had at home really was Ole Miss, and they covered that one. Are you saying? I almost think Ole Miss is better than Texas. Kentucky offense tough at 86th and 110th in EPA, 86th in success rate, but Texas 84th in success rate, 89th in EPA on a schedule ranking 43rd an easier schedule. Their offensive numbers are close to the same. Zal Calzada got injured against Ole Miss, but I don't even care which quarterback plays. Was it other name? Boyle?
Boley's gonna play, and he played at Texas last year. He was 10 of 18 for 160, no tutties, one pick. And I had Kentucky that game. They covered as 18-point dogs, 31-14 loss.
Cat's coming off the bye week too.
Yep, ideal. Yeah, ideal spot. Sark's only 7-8 against the spread as a road favorite. Unders 4-2 for Texas. This matches their lowest total, which was UF 42.5. That one did go over. The overs hit 3 straight for Kentucky to improve to 3-2 overall. I'm just sharing stats here. I'm a pass on this one.
All right. Pass on this one. I like the 12.5. I like this all the way down to 9.5.
Actually, I have a few more notes. Okay, since Sark got there, the game after Oklahoma. So post the Red River game, Sark year one, 32-24 home loss to Oak State as a 3.5-point favorite. Year two, 24-21 win, non-covering win against Iowa State as a 16-point favorite. Year three, 31-24 non-covering win at Houston as a 23.5-point favorite. And last year, 30-15 loss as a 5-point home favorite to Georgia. So he's, 2-2 straight up, 0-4 against the spread, and the 4 non-covers by 61 combined points to the closing number in the post-Red River immediate game under Sark. So that would send support towards your Kentucky play.
All right. Well, I appreciate you finding that for us, my friend. Bobby Newport, thanks for checking in, Bobby. He doesn't love he loves your stats, but he does not love the UK side. He'd rather do team total under on them, which I get. And I think the full game under is a good look. Mississippi State, he loves your play on Mississippi State and my play as well on that. Let's talk about the other direction then, my friend. How about like a Washington State at Virginia? Can I introduce you to a little over action, my friend? 56.5. Total is minus 17.5. I mean, I came off Wazoo against Ole Miss pretty impressed. I feel like, scoring what they did on that defense, they got 340 yards. It's not like this was fluky. They put up over 20 points. And, Ole Miss has had a great defense over the past few years. Cougs traveled to Virginia. I'm guessing they went home, but that mostly hurts the defense, in my opinion. The Wahoos, D ranked 73rd in EPA. They allow 24 points per game. Coming off the bye, big win against Florida State. But hey, man, Virginia's offense is kind of what I'm talking about. They kind of just keep scoring there. They rank 22nd in EPA. 6.35 yards per play is what their offense is getting. They play fast, 33rd in tempo, which usually puts some more points on the board. I think it's kind of a low total because the weather was looking good when I checked it yesterday when I bet it. The Cougars their defense, they allow 29 points per game, and including that, they allowed 59 on the road to North Texas and 59 to Washington. It's like, I think that Ole Miss not scoring a lot was more about them last week being completely flat. Chandler Morris has been lights out. Virginia averages at home 49 points per game. That means I just need 7 out of the other team if they can get to their average. And when you're playing a team like Wazoo, who allowed teams to score over 49 points per game, pretty good look to the over, in my opinion. I like the over 56.5.
Yeah, I don't know if you looked up Virginia's team total. I'm not against that play. How about the brutal spot for Washington State? You're in Oxford, Mississippi, and you have to fly back to Pullman and then fly back east again to Charlottesville. And Virginia had a week off last week.
Horrible spot.
I mean, about as bad as you could possibly imagine. I mean, maybe Hawaii has a worse spot this year, perhaps, but I mean, that's as bad as it gets.
But here's one thing about Wazoo. They're owning their spots because they know that they got screwed out of a conference. They're kind of like they have to put these schedules together, and
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah.
they'll take what they can get. But yeah, it's a terrible spot. But it's also like these guys are so screwed without a conference right now, and what happened to the Pac-12. It is what it is. Washington State corner Bobby turns the ball over 5 times at North Texas. That's how much they turned it over there. That's a lot. And yeah, Virginia's defense not stellar. This
No,
is
they're not.
I'm pretty confident Virginia's going to score a 50 bomb, so I'm cool with this. Yeah. Let's go to a game you picked, my friend, Tennessee versus Alabama, and Bama is -8.5 with a total of 58.5.
Yeah, so I made Bama an 11-point favorite, and my reasoning is Tennessee. They were supposed to have a great defense. Only gave up 16.1 points per game last year. Brought back 8 starters. Now, in fairness, one of the starters, Ricky Gibson, cover corner, had lost to a season-ending injury last month, and then their third-team All-American corner, Jermod McCoy from last year, he tore his ACL in January, and he's still not back yet. So that's been a part of it. But man, Arkansas last week went up and down the field, 29 first downs, 496 total yards, almost had 10 more minutes of time of possession than Tennessee. They just coughed up 3 fumbles, one in the red zone by Taylor Green in the first half. And, that's the reason Arkansas didn't win outright against Tennessee last week. This Tennessee defense is leaking right now. Now, the flip side, they still lead the nation in scoring, and I hear that. But Ty Simpson just gets better every game. Alabama's now ripped off 5 straight wins, 4-0-1 ATS in that stretch, and Simpson's getting better every single week, making better decisions, just balling. And he's got a 16-1 TDI&T ratio. The Vols right now 15th in the SEC, 108 nationally in scoring defense, and in pass defense, they're 124 out of 136 FBS teams. I think Simpson's going to shred their secondary, and Alabama in a revenge game. I think Alabama wins by 2 touchdowns, maybe more.
Oh, Bobby, he loves the Tide. I'm pretty sure that's his team. Yeah, and Ty Simpson passing props too. If you can look at those, I agree with that too. My numbers don't say 8.5, but if I had to bet this game, I'm betting the Bama Crimson Tide. I don't want to get in the way of them after last week either. I felt pretty fortunate that I did get the 3.5 buy. So I had 3.5 or 4, whatever. It don't matter. As long as you had over 3, which was a terrible line, then you covered that one at Missouri. But man, yeah, Jam Miller possibly out. Yeah, I think you're going to get a good price on Ty Simpson's props. And yeah, I do like I look to the over, even though it's at 58.5 in this game. I think that just the speed of the way Tennessee plays is going to put a lot of plays on there. I know Alabama, it's kind of weird with Kalen DeBoer. I can never get a good vibe on his tempo. It feels to me like when he was back at Washington a couple years back, he was like number 1 in tempo. And then when Washington was blowing people out in that final year before he got hired, then he went to slow in tempo. Right now, Alabama is 112th in tempo. So I scratch my head a little bit, but I'm probably not going to take the over. I think I'd rather take the passing props that Bobby also brought up on that one too. You're laying it with the Tide too, Brian?
I am laying it with the Tide, one of my favorite picks of the week. And also, I don't do a lot of teasers in college. I do a lot in the NFL of home favorites, favored between 6 and 8.5, getting them down to either just pick them or to win by a field goal. And I had 3 for this week, but 2 of them have moved up to 9.5. So maybe just money line parlay. But I like Clemson at home to SMU, and Notre Dame at home to USC, and Alabama at home to Tennessee to definitely win outright. Now, if you can do 7-point teasers and you can get all of them down to 2.5 or fewer, I would do a tease instead of the money line parlay. Well, it depends on what your money line odds are, but whatever would work best, as long as you get the 3 home favorites down to 3 or less, if a push isn't a loss on a teaser. And if it is, and you can't get 2.5, I would do money line parlay with those 3.
All right, man. I feel you on that one. Wow, this Georgia Southern line looks serious. We'll get to that. Let's move on to the next game. I with you on Bama. What's the next one? I think I picked Washington
Well,
at Michigan.
So, like I was bitching about earlier, we don't have Big Ten injuries till 90 minutes before kick. I don't know if you noticed late last Friday night on that last possession, Williams got hit hard and he was limping over on the sideline. Have you heard anything about, he's probably good to go, but I would be a little nervous about is Williams 100% healthy?
I think he's fine.
Okay.
I like to Google the quarterbacks at least. Not Google. I go to Twitter and look at for beat writers and I look for injury information. And I think you would have saw more on Damon Williams. He's my favorite quarterback to make Heisman. He was, and then he lost to Ohio State, but I still think there's a path there for him if he beats Oregon at home and keeps putting up those numbers. He's 5th in QBR. Not enough going on. Now, there's nothing. I just double checked again. I'm not seeing much of an on Damon Williams, and I think something would leak because he's just so damn important if he was really out of this game. And if it didn't happen, holy cow, it's an L for me because you know what direction I'm going on this one. This is massive for Jed Fish, and Michigan has not been. I saw the Badgers play at Michigan, and shit, that team's bad. And the fact that was a game for most of the game was just boggling to me. Even though Michigan almost covered the spread, they should have based upon the back door not somehow was open when on a turnover. I still downgraded Michigan.
Sherrod Moore's not the guy.
No, he's not a good coach, and in this situation, I don't think he's a good coach, and he's going against a good coach. Like I said, Damon Williams 5th in QBR. Washington's offense ranks 6th in success rate, 8th in EPA. They can run the ball if needed. Michigan's Bryce Underwood just average 40th in success rate, 34th in EPA. But Washington's defense might be bad, and they look like shit. But at least they can slow the run down, ranking 24th in defensive rushing EPA. They can't stop the pass, but that's not Michigan's strength. Michigan's strength is running the ball. And if you're going to force Bryce Underwood to throw the ball anything more than 3rd and 5, I think it could be tough and a long day for the freshman there. The biggest mismatch, like Sherrod Moore and Jed Fish, like I mentioned, these teams should be more close to power rating equal. I look on most of the public power ratings. There was only a 2-point difference between these two. I'm going to take a team that can backdoor anybody like Washington, dude. They can backdoor 6. They can backdoor 7. I took 7, but I'm giving it out 6 right now because that's where it's at. Washington plus 6.
Yeah, I'm not against going against Michigan laying points because they have not impressed me at all this year. All right, so we going to my next game or
question.
Okay, sorry.
Bobby's like, is Justice Haynes healthy? I don't know. Is he? I hope so. I didn't see much of the end of that USC game. I'd be concerned if he's not. He's a pretty big running back over there. Looks like 4 hours ago, Chip Lindsey said they're hopeful that Justice Haynes can play this weekend. And so, yeah, there you go. That's just even more fuel to the fire on my play. Thank you. And Andrew saying they're trying to screw this West Coast team's playing early. That does suck too. I think if you should mention both sides of every cap. It does suck that they're at 9 a.m. But I'm still going back to the coach here. I do agree, Andrew. Thanks for letting us know that. He did get banged up. You're right. He did not play much in the second half, Bobby. So there you have it. I'll take no Justice Haynes in this cap. Absolutely.
Just because I just saw this. There's a report. Dillingham said that Levitt's practicing and feeling good, so sounds like he's probably gonna be good to go.
You probably should grab that as fast as possible, in my opinion, because it's going to 7. There's still too much respect for Texas Tech. It's so weird. The stadium got damaged this week from the remnants of that hurricane. Man, there's pieces that fell on the ground here in Tempe.
Y'all have hurricanes out there?
dude, the remnants of it. I mean, we're only about 200 miles from Mexico's coast, and we're obviously Rocky Point, and then 350 miles from San Diego. It's not
Don't they call it something different than a hurricane out there? Don't they call it
typhoon or something?
Yeah, typhoon, I think.
Yeah, I ignore it. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes it came up right through the Baja, and I was there, Bobby, a couple weeks ago. It started getting really windy, but the hurricane wasn't quite close enough at the point. But man, I'll tell you, the waves were huge in that Sea of Cortez. And man, was the water warm there, like 85, 90 degrees. It was crazy how warm the water was there. I was shocked. It's like Pacific Ocean is normally really cold. But anyways, getting off the point here. It is a weird time change. And Sam, leave it. Let's go. You know what feels weird, Brian? I feel like Sam Leavitt, he wasn't hurt after the game before. And I feel like they pulled him almost for like not just about his injury. Yeah, like dude, they're arresting him for this game. They're like, we're going to go to Utah, play against a lot of tough reffing and the atmosphere. Screw that. Let's just pull him and throw Sims in this garbage and take the L so we have a shot to upset Texas Tech. Dude, that's gamesmanship, baby.
I mean, I had that thought last week because I saw several tweets showing him running the ball for like 20-yard gains, and Dillingham's quotes was that he aggravated something in the Baylor game, which was the week before the game I was watching the highlights of, where he's making these great runs, and I'm like, is he just resting him, thinking we got a better shot at home against Texas Tech? I don't know.
That's what I think, my friend. I love a good conspiracy, though. You know that.
Right?
That makes me either more trustable or less trustable to some people. So there you go. Where's our last game here? Florida State. The semis are going to Stanford, going to Cali. They're 17.5 freaking point favorites on the road after some of the dog shit we watched from Castellanos and crew. Total 52.5. Brian? I think when you bring up Florida State, I feel what you're doing here.
Yeah, well, there's still a few 18s left out there. So shop around. I'd rather have 18 than 17.5. So all the goodwill that Mike Norvell built back, I should say, with the win over Alabama, it's long gone. He's back on a boiling hot seat, and his team seems to be unraveling yet again. And they have not won a road game in a long time. In fact, let's see. Their last road win. Oh gosh, I should have never brought this topic up. It was at the Swamp. I should have never brought it up. It was at the Swamp in 2023. Florida was on its third string quarterback and did have a 12-point lead in the third quarter. And then Napier called this crazy trick play that resulted in an intentional grounding, blew the field position, and then FSU got going. Anyway, all right. So Castellanos might not have three of his favorite targets this week. So Deuce Robinson, who's his favorite target by far, 25 catches, 443 yards, 3 touchdowns. He left the Pitt game last week in the second quarter, did not return. I saw a quote yesterday from a coach saying they're feeling pretty good about, his chances of playing this week. So I would say he's questionable-ish, if you will. But, I mean, he's probably not going to be 100% if he plays. And then their tight end, Randy Pittman, who's only played 3 games this year, but 11 receptions, 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's very iffy again this week. So is Squirrel White. So, and then Stanford hasn't really played anybody at home, but they are undefeated at home. They beat Boston College by double digits as a double-digit dog, and they beat San Jose State. So, catching 18, it's a late-night game all the way across the country. FSU has now lost 3 in a row, both straight up and ATS. Or no, wait, did they get? No, they did not get a backdoor cover against Miami. They were flirting with it, but anyhow, yeah, I'll go Stanford home dog plus 18.
Florida State covered my spread against Miami, but that was 6.5, and I got it Sunday. I'll tell you this, man. that freaking Miami choke just should not. That's why you can't trust Cristobal in the playoffs. You just remember this shit. Remember it. Stanford is the side, in my opinion, too. I didn't bet it yet, but I think you talked me into it. Yeah, they beat San Jose State, Boston College at home, I guess. I will say that San Jose State was a little frisky. I will, and you know what? They should have won at Hawaii. And Hawaii's kind of aging well a little bit. Hawaii's kind of being a little bit better and better. They just blew out Utah State last week.
Alahado's thrown for like 900 plus yards the last 2 games, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's just all.
I know he's over 400, both of them.
He's come out of his shell. But man, it's so funny. And yeah, and Bobby's like, he looked like hot garbage, and now I'm taking him. It's crazy world. You're taking him after Alabama loses to Florida State. That's funny. Yeah, it's I'm gonna make it a smaller play, but I think I want some skin in this game here with Stanford. So I'm gonna make that a play at 18 because I see it at 18 at Bet Online, and there's a few other places that you can get that number, and you better put a little sprinkle on that, baby. Why not? Sprinkle that baby. I think Florida State's kind of bummed out a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, I won't be surprised if Auburn, Florida, and Florida State all lose this weekend. I don't know that Norvell would get fired because his buyout's in the 50. I want to say like 54 million. So I don't. Yeah, and they would save money waiting to the end of the year. So I don't know if they would fire him, but I could see Hugh Freeze and Billy Napier being out of a job by do we have a London game on Sunday? I was going to say by halftime of the London game. if we had a London game.
Well, isn't that when Franklin was kind of fired right around that time too? I was up in the morning and I'm like, holy cow, I started texting people.
Yeah, out west Coast time, he was probably fired.
Is the game in Germany or is the game in Germany or is it in London? It is in. I don't know. It's not saying.
Who cares? We're talking college. No, don't worry about
it. Let's go back to college. We have that's for tomorrow's show, baby.
There you go.
I'm with you. Take the Stanford +8. Let's go hodgepodge then. Talk about a few games. I brought up Georgia Southern here. The injury list on them looks a little bit high. But Georgia State's fucking bad. And this is a 6.5 point spread. And I think that the reason it might be so low here is because of the rivalry in state. But dude, from a power rating side, I don't even know what Sagarin has on this, but 6.5 at home. You got to give them 1.5, 2 points for Georgia Southern at home. But Georgia Southern is not a bad team. They played hard against USC. 59, and Georgia State is 49. So even Sagarin, who has condensed numbers, say this should be over 10-point advantage here in this game. So what am I missing is what I'm wondering. But looks like Bobby took Georgia Southern. There you go. I like Gio.
All right. I will go Arkansas running back Mike Washington over 54.5 rushing yards. So with Petrino as head coach, and I know he was already OC and calling plays anyway, but last week Washington had a season high 19 attempts and 131 rushing yards. His other rushing yard numbers for the season are 63, 70, 65, 116, and 79. So he has gone over 54.5 by at least 8.5 yards in all 6 games. I have been on this over 4 weeks in a row for winners. I had it against Ole Miss, Memphis, Notre Dame, and Tennessee. I'm also going to go with Taylon Green. Or no, I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. You can also make adjusted bets on Washington, and I'm doing 80 plus at FanDuel plus 205, but I'm not against 90 plus 270 or 100 plus 360. A&M has a really good defense, but they're only 8th in the SEC in run defense, and Petrino is all about that power running game to set up play action. All right, and then I'm also going to do Taylon Green over 52.5 rushing yards. He had 63 last week. And on the season, he has had games of 81, 53, 115, 151, and 41. So only once has he been under 52.5. So he's 5-1 to the over 52.5. And the only game he didn't get there was 41 against Alabama A&M, a 52-7 win when he left the game early. So Mike Washington over 54.5 at FanDuel rushing yards. Taylon Green over 52.5, and also 80 plus on Washington for a plus 205 payout for a smaller amount. So like if you're doing like 1.5 units on Washington over 54.5, do like a half unit on him at 80 plus for plus 205.
Oh, I love it, man. Look at all those props coming out of Brian.
Oh, one more. Oh, sorry.
Look at all those props, my man. That's great.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I got one more.
Go for it.
I've been doing this one all year, but they had several games where they didn't post it, but I see they've already posted. Haynes King, Georgia Tech quarterback. Let's go over 68.5 rushing yards, and let's also take the prop for him to score 2 touchdowns or more at plus 300. Smaller bet on the plus 300 amount-wise.
All right. Well, Bobby's marking it down. Great stuff. You know what's funny? Are you looking at any of the early game? What do you think about Minnesota catching over a touchdown at home against a Nebraska team that has a lot of distractions right now with Matt Rule?
Yeah, I never trust Nebraska on the road, and I definitely am a strong lean to Minnesota, and I might end up playing them. What's that number right now?
Shoot, I found 8.5 earlier. I mean,
yeah, I wrote down Nebraska -4.
Yeah, it's 7.5 now where I bet it. It's getting lower.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna bet Minnesota. Let me see how Fleck is as a home dog. I'm sorry I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, Fleck's. I think Fleck's pretty good as a home dog, unless the name's Ohio State or something. Yeah, I go ahead and check that out while you're doing it. But I looked at Minnesota. They have that ugly loss at Cal, and that didn't age well. But I just wonder if that's more about Cal's problems. Do they have some serious front office type problems there with Rivera and and Justin Wilcox? There's just a lot of issues going on at Cal. They started out so hot and they just kind of disappeared.
Wait, who's this? Is this Ron Rivera's GM? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, over at Cal.
Ron Rivera, the former NFL coach?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He must have played his college ball at Cal. Is that the deal?
I believe so. And he was a former Bear and everything. And
yeah.
And it's funny how these GMs keep popping up. But no, it's interesting, and I'm just curious if this obviously the spread's too much. And you talk about Cal, it's like every team's gonna have a bad stinker and shit, man. Ole Miss almost lost to Wazoo, right? I mean, it just happens. I'm not gonna punish Minnesota too much about that. I still remember a pretty strong Minnesota team against Buffalo the very first game, and they should have won by a lot more than that. Let me know when you have those numbers, by the way.
9-9-1 against the spread as a home dog. Oh wait, unless he's had one this year. Has he had one this year? I don't know.
They should have lost to Purdue probably, but they ended up coming back and winning the game, and they covered. They covered against Rutgers, who's a feisty team. Why is Nebraska getting all this respect going on the road? Nebraska should have lost to Maryland on the road. They got lucky in that game. And Michigan State was also a misleading score. Michigan State's been looking like dog shit lately too.
God, wow, that was probably the worst performance of the week last week. Sparty?
Yeah, absolutely. Sparty. Yep.
Oh, Bobby. Hey, yo, Bobby. I got a 90-1 Haynes King Heisman ticket as well. I mean, he needs to improve his passing stats, but as long as they stay undefeated, it's definitely not a ticket I'm going to be ripping up.
Back-to-back travel for Nebraska. I agree, my man. That is true. Let's see here.
Yeah, I like Minnesota.
I like this. All right, that's our Friday highlight. Then I'm not going to make it official, but I got a better number. But I will obviously wink. You clearly know I already bet them. Dude, LSU Vandy starts out the day, and 48.5. I feel that's a little high. Both teams play slow. LSU ranks 90th in tempo. Vandy ranks in the hundreds. And what's funny about this game, you already mentioned Nussmeier might be banged up. If they're not stupid, they're going to prepare for Pavia and put a fucking spy on him. I know the coach over there at LSU, Kelly, he does not take me as the best preparer, but Jesus, man, come on. There's really one way to beat this game, this Vanderbilt team, and stopping Pavia. Get your hands up when you rush. Make sure he's not doing a read option on you, right? Watch for some RPOs. That's about it. I like the under a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with an under on an LSU game this year because they're struggling offensively, man. Their O-line is just not on the level anywhere near last year. Obviously, they had a couple of NFL offensive tackles that are gone.
100%. Let's go to another game here. Oh, there's a big one then also we probably didn't mention here coming up. Is it an SEC one? Penn State, Iowa. I guess it was big. It was kind of big. Now it's not as big. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I grabbed a great number on Iowa, but I grabbed it at 1.5, and I texted a couple guys. I'm like, you want to get on this? It's at 3. It was at 3.5. It came back down to 3. Is this coach fire spot gonna matter? Because coaches fired have been money. You saw Arkansas last week. You saw what happened to UCLA cover at Northwestern. What just happened at there's another Virginia Tech also covered their next FBS game.
NC State, yeah.
Dude, I mean,
they won outright. They won outright.
A lot of times that happens, and that's why I'm freaking out a little bit about the NFL situation with Callahan. I wanted to use the Titans possibly in a Survivor or something. But, this coach fired spot, what it does psychologically is fire up the team thinking, man, I have to play or else it's my fault, not the coach. Because if I look like shit, it's a psychological spot, but it's also a freaking Penn State team without a quarterback, man. They're Grunkmeyer, is that his name?
It looked like a tough pronunciation to me, so I haven't gotten it.
Gronkowski Meyer. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but I know he's a redshirt freshman, and I just can't imagine he's ready for this moment. And it's hard to play in Iowa. Iowa's actually been putting up some points lately too. What's interesting about this Iowa offense is that they've been a lot better since they fired the son over as offensive coordinator, Ferentz, right? It's like now they're putting up 30.7 a game. They go to Wisconsin, put up a 37 bomb. Scoring 15 against Indiana is not looking quite as bad as it has in the past. They went to Rutgers, scored 38. They 48-7 against UMass. Dude, it's I'm thinking Penn State probably should beat them by more than 3, fired coach or not.
Did you know the late, great Smokin' Dave Koken, longtime handicapper, radio guy in Vegas for decades?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so he didn't care what the sport was. He did not care. He would bet the first game with the interim coach. He would bet on that team religiously. And I don't know what the numbers are, but I think it fares very well. And Bobby Petrino was the example last week. All that said, I kind of lean to Iowa, but you said you got it at Iowa at 1.5. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 1.5, baby. But my question is, do I buy back? And dude, the reason Koken's made that bet because it works. It works.
Right.
So Penn State loses by 2. Penn State loses by 1 or wins. Right. 3 trades, but it's freaking me out because I love this angle too. And I made the bet before Franklin was fired. And then it went to 2.5, and then he was fired, but it still kept going to 3. And
well, hold on. If you placed the bet before it happened, then it doesn't apply to you.
Ferentz is a tight ends coach at Fresno State, Bobby, just to let you know. Brian Ferentz. So there you go. His dad got rid of him, and he's sitting in pretty California right now. So here's the thing. I think that more people are going to push it to 3.5, and I have to take something back at 3.5. At 3, I'm just going to probably eat it and just be like, Iowa, you seriously going to freaking lose to? Dude, the problem about Penn State in these situations is the team usually still has like the talent. And it just takes one freaking game for them to get their heads out of their asses,
Right.
and that's what scares me. I mean, everything else normal, I would lean Iowa for sure. I mean, my number's 5 that I made after the coach and the quarterback's gone. But I
The
don't know.
as I'm looking at my Penn State page, the preseason line on this game back in August was Penn State minus 10.5.
That's so funny.
Right.
Dude, there's some that work for you and some that don't. I mean, if
Right.
you're laying points on a game of the year line in July, good luck, man. I'm not doing that shit.
Right.
I'm only taking points usually on games of the years, because I'm doing that research. Utah BYU is pretty big in Provo. That is +3 for BYU. You know what sucks is BYU's schedule has been shit. Not like East Carolina's that bad, but East Carolina is kind of more hurt themselves. Utah is -3 and Provo. Dude, if this gets to 3.5, I'm going to be forced to bet BYU, bro. I don't want to. BYU is overrated. They're undefeated. They're the only undefeated team minus Texas Tech in the Big 12. And they're, Utah's favored on the road. It's going to be, it's their big rivalry game, Mormon versus
Oh
Mormon.
yeah, Holy War.
Holy War, baby. But God
Yeah.
have mercy on our souls. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. My numbers probably have Utah as about a 2-point favorite. So I'm still on the side of BYU, even though now I have this pick 'em. I have this pick 'em, which is even more argument to go with BYU. But I just feel that my numbers are wrong on BYU and they should be lower. You ever feel
You
like
know,
that?
I got backdoored on that West Virginia BYU late during the feel good hours 2 or 3 Fridays ago, and I
They
was
should have lost
bent.
last week, according to Andrew. I agree, Andrew. They should have lost last week against Arizona. Arizona
Yeah.
screwed up.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but here that's also at Arizona a little tougher. Arizona's better this year than they've been in the past. It's still one of those that you're looking at a rivalry and not taking the home dog, and you're like, how is this possible? Sometimes you just got to throw the power numbers out and just look at what it is. I've learned that over the years. I used to be such a metric capper, and then I'm like, man, this is just throw the metrics away and some of this stuff. Missouri Auburn's an interesting game. Missouri's taking a little money. They flip from +1.5 to -1.5 road chalk. Very small chalk, obviously. You can still get this close to pick them in the money line areas, but I lean Missouri because Auburn's just so freaking incompetent lately. They came
Yeah.
out firing so hard against Baylor. Well, we find out Baylor's defense sucks again, and Miranda's a fraud. But
Right.
it's like you can't trust that quarterback over there at Auburn, man. He's just transfers from Oklahoma, lays
Yeah, I
eggs.
don't know. I don't know where the morale of that team is. Actually, I don't know if he's their second leading rusher. He might have been their third leading rusher. He left the team earlier this week. I was going to save it for beer bet banger, but I've got a little something on that game just to
No,
prop.
let's move. We're out of time. Let's move into beer bet bangers. It's a perfect segue for it. So let's go with
All
what
right.
you have.
All right. Brett Norfleet, tight end for Missouri. He's got 5 touchdown catches this year. He had the touchdown reception on the first drive against Bama last week. I'll do anytime touchdown prop for him +240. I mentioned the Haynes King anytime 2 touchdown prop for +300. And I'll give you a Heisman long shot. Brendan Sorsby is still 100-1 at FanDuel right now. He has a 64.7 completion percentage, 1,448 passing yards, a 14-1 TDINT ratio. He's got 327 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns, 6.3 yards per carry average. And his team has won 5 games in a row since losing by 3 to Nebraska at Arrowhead. And he's got a stat stuffing opportunity at Oklahoma State this week, and then Baylor and its not very good defense at home October 25th. And, they'll be an underdog at Utah, but then they get an open date. So they'll be favored at home to Arizona, probably be tightly lined at home to BYU. And then TCU starting to fade at TCU. I could see Cincy going 10-2, and I could see Sorsby continuing to put up big numbers. Look, when you buy 100 to 1 ticket, you're like 99% sure it's going to lose, but it might
You
have
never
a
know.
shot.
It might have a shot.
It might have a shot.
I don't disagree with that. That's a good price. Hell of a good price on a guy that's kind of making a great comeback here. Love it, man. And then Brett Norfleet, anytime TD looks good too. So I wrote that one down.
Oh, and the last thing, sorry, on the beer bet banger, and you started to mention it. Did you mention the price on Stanford money line? I'm looking at it. It's plus 650.
Yes, it's plus 650. So
you already said that. Sorry, my apologies. Yep, you already said that.
I'm not sure if I said the price, but I looked
Okay.
at it. I remember looking at it when you were talking about it, and I remember seeing plus 650. So maybe this is the first time it was said. Good call. I like that too. So we're going to do that for a beer bet banger.
Smaller than our Stanford plus 18. Much smaller.
Andrew likes Cincy, the Big 12 title game, and Bobby says Sorsby's passing yard ladder is a good candidate this week at Okie State, as long as he plays the entire game. Yard ladder, baby. So you go up with that ladder, hit them all, baby, hit them all. You get some plus money into that plus money. Okay, that's a great beer bet banger, my friend. Those are some great ones. I got a smaller one. Even though since Tennessee loses this week, I still think they make the playoffs at plus 240. All right. And here's why. They have one loss against Georgia, but everybody's going to remember the field goal they should have hit. They missed the field goal and lost to Georgia. Now they're at Alabama. They don't even play a ranked team until Vanderbilt at home after this. Well, sorry, Oklahoma. They play Oklahoma. Okay. But how has Oklahoma aged lately? Not so well. Actually, Oklahoma should have lost to Auburn, if you remember that ref show. So at Alabama, they'll lose. So here's your two losses. They run the table, and maybe a money line rollover is better. I don't know if they'll put a 3-loss in, but at Kentucky, win. Oklahoma, win. New Mexico State, win. At Florida, sorry, buddy, probably a win. And Vanderbilt at home, they better win that game, and it's not guaranteed, but plus 240.
Wait, did you just say Tennessee's going to win at Florida? Do you know when the last time that happened?
Was it last year? I don't know. It's been a minute.
It's been decades, Kiev. It's been decades. They don't win at the Swamp. All right. It has been, I think, since 2005, 20 years. Let's see. I got it right here.
Well, Penn State doesn't lose to Northwestern either. All right.
No. I'm sorry. The last win at the Swamp was 2003. So it's been 22 years since they won at the Swamp. And they're also 0-5 ATS.
Well, by that time, Billy Napier's fired. And, you got a team that's kind of just like, I don't know. I'm surprised Napier's made it this far. It's that freaking Texas win. I don't know how you feel about that. You're I guess as a fan, you feel kind of cool, but like, you're also like, dude, we ain't going nowhere. You're like, we ain't making the playoffs. It's like,
right.
You don't want any excuses for him to stay around. I mean, his only SEC win is against Texas, and he lost to South Florida. Dude, he should have been gone by now. I hope Mississippi State wins. He's gone. And then they'll bring in someone new at the bye. Then they play Georgia. And then you have to bet them. Here's a fun one, though. And I'm not saying I'm betting it, but didn't UAB's coach Trent Dilfer?
Yeah,
dude, he got plus 1,000 at home against Memphis money line. That's funny. I mean, if you're Dave Koken, this is what you bet, right? You
right? Dave Koken, he blindly bets it.
Yeah, he blindly bet, and it's a great blind bet because you can talk yourself out of shit that happens, right? Memphis is in a weird spot, kind of too. I feel like Memphis has got someone on deck. I'm gonna pull what Memphis' schedule is.
Here, I got it right here. They
it's all Florida on deck.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're coming off a bye though to play at UAB, so that kind of refreshes them a little bit. Yeah, I mean, if I bet this and not Penn State and lost this one, and Penn State wins, that would be double screwed. So I'm either betting
Right.
them both. I'm either betting them both or leaving them both alone. Right.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just fun to talk about that. And yeah, Andrew said USF. Yeah, it's a situation where this is where Koken would bet, and Koken, God bless his soul, sitting up and got with God, telling God some plays right now is probably betting UAB. Right?
Yes, for sure. I don't know if he did it
And
money line, but yeah, dude, UAB.
I'm sure he puts a little on the money line. But speaking of gods, let's hope the gods are with us, Mr. Brian. And why don't you tell our listeners where they can find some of your wonderful information and props and plays?
Yeah, if they want to go to majorwager.com, right there on the front of the homepage, I've got an article about the Jackson Dart props that I am betting this weekend. And they can go to Vegas Insider to get my picks. Obviously, there's my Twitter handle at Vegas B. Edwards. I do a podcast on the YouTube channel for Southeastern 16 that will be out like mid-ish tomorrow morning. Just recorded it before I came on with Kiev. And do a lot of other videos and SEC football and basketball content at the YouTube channel for Southeastern 16. So as always, man, good time, or not good times for the Badgers and Gators, but have enjoyed talking. And thanks, Bobby Newport, my man. I hope it sounds like we're on the same page on a lot of things. So hopefully we'll have a good week. I had a great September, but I've been cold as ice in college the last few weeks. So hopefully I will snap out of it.
Hopefully we snap. I mean, me 2 weeks too. I've been killing it, and that 2 weeks been tough. But I'm hoping to snap out of it too, my friend. Make sure you guys check out Brian at Major Wager at Vegas Insider. Brian, we'll be texting.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one, my brother.